Hey guys, what is going on today? In Galaxy of Heroes, my video that I wanted to make was just another one of those research topics that I found interesting that I thought to myself. So if you guys find this interesting, make sure you guys leave the thumbs up, leave a comment down below if some of this is going to shock you, which I think it should. And yeah, let me know what you guys thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more topics like this, as again, my curiosity is what drives a lot of the videos that I do. And I figured that some other people probably wanted to know this as well. So today's video is going to be about, the 10th anniversary era. We just finished it up about a week ago. And as you can see, I have a 6-star mall. And one of the things that I thought of, like with some of the verbiage that CG was using, and some of the things that I've seen as well, this really felt like this was going to be a profit driver for them. And again, just based off of what I saw in some of their posts where they're saying, we're going to take a really conservative approach and we're going to not rush into changes. That really speaks to me as someone that's, saying, hey, I want to hold profits. I want to, we actually like what happened here and we don't want to change something and lose profits, right? Like we don't want that to happen. And that I say that, and I know a lot of people think that, no, that's greedy or whatever. That's very normal thinking, right? Like that is a very, good, healthy way of thinking about things in a business. Is a very good way of thinking about things in life, right? In your own budget of your own, monthly budget, right? Like if you like the way things are going, if you like how much you're getting paid, if you like how much you're saving on certain things, those are actions that you want to, preserve. And so that's why I felt like that's what they're saying in a lot of their posts. So that made me think, well, how much money did they make? So let's go ahead and travel over to our, Excel sheet. And as you can see right here, I've obviously whited out some of this stuff just to kind of break down the sheet, right? We, over here on the, the left side of things, I've got the star breakdown of what it took for mall, right? So for instance, we have 3,866 7-star malls, and we have 79,950 4-star malls. And this is all according to .gg. So in order to kind of determine that, obviously you needed the characters at that level in order for you to unlock mall at that level. So I said to myself, well, okay, I need a data table for, how many shards are required in order to get that level. And based off of just some really quick research of Clea on, an account that didn't buy a pass or anything like that, I saw that I got 65 shards. I will also say I made this in the wee hours of the night. So if I did mess up something, it will throw these numbers off quite a bit. But just letting you guys know, think of this as what their maximum earning potential can be. And we'll explain a little bit more of that later. Not necessarily what they did make. And then I put the pass in here because the pass is obviously very important. Most people buy the pass, and you get 20 shards there. So then really quickly, before we jump into what's required, 7-star, 6-star, 5-star, 4-star, what I want to say is that I also calculated this expected shards. Now in here, you can see the formula. Basically what this is saying is, hey, based off of, the probabilities of pulling a card, here's what we can expect our average to essentially be, right? Like this is what our expected shards every single time that I want to purchase one single card, we should expect 7.76 in return. Now, obviously we can't get a 0.76 of a shard, but that's just saying that, hey, sometimes you're going to hit 10, sometimes you're going to hit 7, sometimes you're going to hit 5. So how did I come up with the money amount that we're about to see? Is essentially once I started getting the numbers, right? So for this, we get 65 shards for a marquee. We get 20 for the pass. We need 330. So then let's take all of this stuff and start combining it into what actually happens in the game. So you'll see that I need 330 shards right here. Well, you're going to get 15 just from doing your tier events of all the way getting up to a 7-star. You're also going to get 15 shards for 7 days after that, right? So because you get bonus shards and then you also get your actual shards. So what you need then from that, and then obviously, yes, you have your marquee plus your pass. So basically what this is saying is by the first day or within the first day, you need to find a way of coming up with 125 shards. So with this expectancy, right, that is, right, if you start to kind of take 125 shards and you divide it by your expected shards, how many packs do you need to open up? Well, you need to open up 16.09, so essentially 17 packs, right? And then my thought is, okay, how best to, there's many ways we could do this. We could just buy, 17 of the $12.99 packs, and then it ends up being really expensive. But I went with the most cost effective. So from that, if you just bought the 12 card pack, which is, the 12,999, and then you bought the 5 card pack for essentially 6,000 crystals, you would, in theory, get to that number, right? You might need to purchase 1 or 2 extra just based off of the RNG. Did you get a lot of 5s? Did you get a lot of 10s? Whatever the case is. But essentially, if we just went with that, we would be spending about $115 in crystals, right? So again, it's kind of in English, right? With the marquee plus buying the pass plus 1 of the 12 card pulls and 1 of the 5 card pulls on the day 1 of the marquee should get us to our required 7-star. So now that we've kind of explained that, let me go ahead and go into the profits, right? So that's probably what everyone really wants to know. Okay, so here we go. Here's the net profits, and let's go ahead and explain this now. So for one character, I have that it takes our $115 plus 10. Now, where does the 10 come from? That is the $10 that I'm saying that it requires for you to buy the pass. And I know what you're saying. Hey, but the pass is $20. But the pass in our experience right now has actually usually contained 2 characters. So essentially 1 pass is giving you 2 characters. And because this is figuring out what 1 character is costing us, we have to divide that by 2. So that's where we get our $125. And then again, for our 6 characters, we're just taking that number and multiplying it by 6 because that's what we had for this time. And then for the 7-star mall, this was the controversial part. And I don't know if these numbers are right. I had to kind of rely on people that, kind of did it without me. So if this number's wrong, then I'm sorry. And this might change things, but I was told that it took 2 to 3 packs in order to get your character up to level 85. This was kind of a non-negotiable price. So I wanted the more conservative approach, but if it was closer to let's say 18, this would obviously raise this price up a little bit. But I think these were pretty consistent numbers with what I was hearing, on YouTube and stuff like that. But you would be looking at, 2 times 6 is 12. So that's why we get the 12 times their $17.99 pack for your $215. So you're looking really close to $1,000 for this entire, essentially mall when at 7 stars looks at like $1,000. So they would be making $3.7 million in profit off of our 3,800 people that decided that they were going to go 7-star mall. Now, if that number doesn't reach out to you, I don't know. I wish that I had thought of creating a Star Wars mobile game because that's an incredible amount of money. And obviously this is divided by 3 months, right? It is about a 3-month build up, so to speak. But yeah, $3.7 million. That's a good profit to take home. And again, I think this right here, I think was the part where a lot of people said, you know what, I'm just going to not do that. And it was for me. And so, like I said, I was at this 6-star mall. So right in this line. So if you see here, basically, it takes, essentially $500 in order to get all 6 characters to that price. And so my 6-star mall in theory should have costed me $500 for 2 million, right? And this is again where I'm going to now talk about my personal experience and why this spreadsheet is more like, think of this as not what they earn, but maybe their earning potential. as we start to get lower and lower, these numbers are probably inflated by a lot. Because again, I will tell you right now that I did not spend $500. I spent about 60. And I only got, I didn't get all characters to 7 stars. I didn't get Barris there because I just couldn't. And the reason why that's the case is because I didn't spend money on crystals in order to get these packs going. I made a lot of sacrifices in other places. And if you guys want, I can make a video on exactly how I got a 6-star Maul and mostly 7-star characters. I can walk through that. It is a very niche thing. I just don't think it applies for very many people, but I can if you guys want. But I've just basically bought the pass. For instance, if everyone took my number, right, they would have only made like 243,000. Now, obviously, I like I said, I think I was in a very rare position. I highly doubt that a lot of people followed my goal, but I would have brought that average down quite a bit, even if there were just, a couple hundred of us, right? Because, there's only 4,000 people here. And then as you can see down here, and again, I want to really stress this because as you can kind of see down here, right, we're spending $15 at this point, right? With a pass and stuff like that. So there's ways of getting around this, but they offer a lot of ways, right? If you just save GAC crystals and stuff, like let's just say that this was instead of $154, like this was closer to $50, right? And same thing with this, right? Maybe this was only even $20, right? Basically just buying the pass is just enough, right? You could see now how this quickly starts to go down, right? And especially because of these numbers that they did unlock at. So I do want to say that, right? Like this number looks really cool, right? Like if they could really pull out 21 million in 3 months just based off of, forcing people into crystalling or, forcing people into the panic. And I'm sure there's instances where, some of these 70 or almost 80,000 people, they saw that maybe the light side tokens were available and they said, you know what, I'm going to buy a Volt and I'm just going to, on the 12th hour kind of thing. And I'm just going to rush into this. Doesn't really matter because I really want those lights. There is probably some FOMO spending in there for sure that probably even elevates this, right? It might have even cost them more than $150 when it's all said and done. But I just wanted us to point out the obvious, right? Like this is more earning potential and not what they actually made. This is a way of getting a lot of people buy-in because oftentimes whether they come out with something, right? Like if it's a light speed bundle, that's going to be totally not applicable to me as a 15 million GP account, right? For most things, right? If they're just like, hey, if you guys want to unlock Ray, give us, $50 or whatever. That's not applicable to me at all, right? I've had Ray since 2020 or something like that. And they're not going to, that's a pack that is not applicable to me. And likewise, right? There's some things that, they offer that are just basically end game players, right? Like it's just like, okay, hey, this is a really good pack for the people that are really at the top. But for the guys that are just down in Carbonite 5 and just starting out kind of thing, why would they spend that kind of money on this game, especially whenever that thing might not even play into, a factor for them? Era system, really. Like, but by us going into Coliseum with fresh new characters, no mods, all the other things, this is encouraging players that were brand new or, newer, that are not trying to compete with, the people that have been playing the game for 10 years. And this is now increasing their spending. And I think that, I do think that they made, probably a third of this, if I had to guess, right? If I had to just throw a number on the wall and just say, like, I bet throughout the entire era system, they made like around $7 million just from the purchases, the character packs, the passes, right? So they're doing fine is what I'm trying to say, right? And we had historical numbers where they were close to $9 million per month. So it's not a stretch for me to say that, of that $9 million a month, were they making close to 3-ish million just from Coliseum? I bet so, or the era system or whatever you want to call it. I bet so. So again, just based off of their interactions and stuff like that, I would say, hey, they're probably doing pretty well. This is going to be a successful game mode for them. It's a way for them to monetize, and again, widely monetizes. Anyways, hopefully you guys found this interesting. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys liked it. Again, leave a thumbs up if you guys did enjoy this. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more content like this, and we'll see you guys in the next one.